The silence in the valley was broken only by the ragged breath of the SEAL captain. His lips trembled as he whispered the words no one on his team expected to hear. Ithuepoit. See tues over. For the men who trusted him with their lives, that single phrase struck harder than any enemy bullet. The mission had unraveled, their strength was fading, and one choice, one shot, stood between life and death. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you rewatching from. I love knowing who's listening. They had been moving for hours under a pitiless sun, their boots sinking into dust that clung like a second skin. Every step was haunted by the knowledge that their extraction had been compromised. Supplies were low, communications jammed, and enemy fighters closing in from every ridge. The captain, a man whose steel resolve had carried them through countless storms, felt the weight of doubt pressing against his chest. His men searched his eyes for assurance, but in that moment, even he was unsure if there was a way out. He thought of his family, a wife who waited faithfully, children too young to understand the uniform he wore. He wondered if the letter in his breast pocket, written months ago just in case, would be the last they'd ever receive. Guilt and duty wrestled inside him, threatening to tear him apart. The tension grew unbearable. The valley seemed to hold its breath, the wind pausing, the air charged with the electricity of impending violence. The men crouched low, rifles ready, but behind their discipline lay something raw. Fear. Not of dying, but of failing each other. Then came the sound. A single metallic click in the distance. Unmistakable. A sniper had found them. One shot, and everything would collapse. The captain's eyes scanned the horizon, his instincts honed by years of combat. He could feel the gaze of death pressing on him, cold and sharp, like a knife against his throat. Every soldier waited for his command. To retreat meant leaving their wounded. To advance meant charging into the scope of a hidden killer. Time stretched into agony, and then the captain saw it. A glint of glass high on the ridge, faint but undeniable. His heart pounded. He knew he had one chance, one squeeze of the trigger to rewrite fate. He steadied his rifle, hands trembling not from fear, but from the crushing weight of what this single act would mean. The world narrowed to silence. Breath in, finger tightening. The shot rang out, echoing across the valley like thunder. For a moment, no one moved. Dust swirled in the stillness. Then, the sniper's shadow slumped against the ridge and vanished from sight. Relief came not with cheers, but with a stunned, collective silence. His men stared at him, wide-eyed. The captain lowered his rifle, whispering again, but this time, not in despair. His voice cracked with relief. "It's over!" The weight lifted, but it left scars. Because for every life he saved with that shot, another life was taken. And in the hollow of his chest, he wondered, was he still the man his children believed him to be? This was the moral price of war. Victories etched in shades of gray, where survival was both triumph and torment. The rescue arrived hours later. The men, though battered, marched out together, each step heavy but unbroken. Villagers who had watched from afar gathered as they passed, their whispers carried on the wind, whispers of men who fought like shadows and emerged like legends. And yet, for the captain, the true victory wasn't in surviving the ambush. It was in seeing his men alive, standing shoulder to shoulder, bound not by orders, but by unshakable loyalty. Because courage is not the absence of fear, it's the decision to move through it. Because kindness doesn't vanish, it waits, and it finds its way back. The same valley where he once whispered defeat now echoed with the sound of footsteps leaving it behind. And in that fading light, one shot no longer symbolized despair, but the fragile thread of hope that had held them all together. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe. Because here, every story reminds us of the strength we carry and the courage waiting inside us all.